Welcome to Light the Path, the podcast that brings you inspiring stories of courage, strength, and faith. Listen in as we explore how God's love and grace can inspire and motivate us to overcome life's challenges and light the path forward.
Hello, Pathfinders. How's it going? How are you? What is going on? Thank you so much for tuning in to another broadcast of Light the Path podcast. Make sure that you are subscribed on all audio platforms, but then also on YouTube. Because YouTube, you're going to get a gamut of things. You're going to get the Queen Cole experience, what I have going on, what I'm doing, but then you also get the podcast with video of the guests. So you want to definitely tune into that. So tune into the YouTube, tune into the audio, or wherever you get your podcast from. I mean, we're also on Audible, iHeartRadio, Pandora. So just tap in wherever you are. That's all I want you to do, is tap in wherever you are. Today I have the pleasure and privilege to have Qualon on today. He is going to be our special guest. We're going to be talking about being Black 365, because we know that February is not long enough to celebrate, cultivate, and to educate about Black history. So today we're going to be talking about being Black 365. So help me welcome Qualon back to Light the Path podcast.
Hey, I'm glad to be here.
I need to get my little board so I can be like, burr, burr, burr,
burr. all of that.
Yes. All the celebratory things. I appreciate you coming on. I have been so looking forward to this conversation. So let's do this first, though. Let's catch up. What have you been doing? What's going on? Tell me all the good things.
I got you. So what have I been doing? What's been going on? All the good things. I've been able to read a lot more. It was something that I was doing prior to, kind of fell away from it a little bit, started, playing around with it more, but I was like, nah, man, there's a lot of books piling up in this queue. I want to be able to get them out. So was able to do that. Been working on some creative projects. I've been doing some spoken word gigs and competitions, transitioned from one job to a new job that helps more so consolidate a lot of the community work I was doing, the creative work I was doing, as well as the actual job I was doing as well. So being able to consolidate that, because I found myself, juggling just a lot of balls. And I'm like, some of these are glass balls, some of these are rubber balls. I don't want to drop any of them. I don't want to drop the wrong ones. But now I was able to really consolidate it a little bit more. I actually ended up reading this book, The Alchemist, that helped with that transition a lot more, just hearing about how his journey happened a lot. So now I'm able to do that. I've been working in middle schools. I've been working at colleges. I was at City Hall. I've been out in the community. I've been all over the place. And I'm loving it. Spending time with family and friends, working on myself, working on my relationship, all that. Growing my hair out. I'm fasting from smoking and drinking. And listen, I've been doing a lot of things. Lent just started. So I was like, I'm giving up sugar. Everything got sugar. So I'm going to give up anything that's got over 5 grams of sugar. So just to test the limits of my discipline, just all kinds of stuff. So
I mean, come on, let's talk about that. Is so beautiful. All these things are so beautiful. So do you read physical books or do you do audio books?
So I'm a fan of physical books. I do audio books. If I'm doing the dishes or in the car or something like that, I'll be able to do some audio books. But I know a lot of times I like being able to just sit there and read, put my phone to the side, and just be in my own little space. And then just depending on the type of books I'm reading, sometimes, I have something where, I'm underlining and writing in. If it's some of those self-help books or things of that nature, be like, oh, I had a good one, that's some good notes. But if it's a novel or, something that's just a really cool story, I could just sit back, chill, read, just going through the pages. So
yes, Qualon, I love you. I love your personality. I love all the things you got going on. Before we came on recording, I was like, Qualon, you remind me of my brothers. And it could be any one of my brothers. You're a combination of all 3 of them. But every little thing that you said, I can see each of my brothers. And that's why I was like, when we said we're going to connect, I was like, Qualon has a brilliant mind. That's what I just keep telling everybody. Qualon has a brilliant mind. You're going to love this next episode. If you love the last episode, you're going to love this episode.
Hey, listen, look, and y'all going to love it. And I love your locks, by the way. I saw it earlier. I didn't get to tell you, but I was like, oh, I see the hair growth too. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, come on, growth gang. Growth. This is, oh, Lord, this has been the best thing that I ever did for my hair. I've had all the things natural. I mean, I was always natural, but then, you know, I've had a perm, I've had weaves, I had the braid. Like, this has been the absolute best. I mean, it has taught me a lot about myself too. Like, when I first started short, I was like, ooh, like I had to really tap into who I was as a person, who God created me to be, and be proud of it. Like, I didn't, you know, I'm used to 90s swoop, like I got a little swoop covering my face and stuff, but like, no, them little locks, I couldn't hide behind. There was nothing to hide from it. So I had to really like embrace, okay, this is who I am. I am fearfully and wonderfully made, even though my hair is looking a little short, you know what I mean? And that I'm not my hair either. Like, I'm not, you know, I don't have to be one way. And so it has really taught me so much. What made you want to grow your hair out?
So it started up initially when I was in college. I couldn't afford haircuts, so I'll just get lineups. So it kind of started like that, and I had, like, you know, a nice little flat top, and then I had like the little Gumby look, the high low, and all that good stuff. And then I was like, you know what? I set a goal for myself. I said, you know, this was back in like maybe 2016, 2017. Around that time, I was like, you know, I'm gonna grow my hair until I graduate and until I make $1 million. That was the goal that I set for myself. So so probably after about like a month or so, I was like, all right, way closer to an overdraft than $1 million, but we're gonna have to do something with this head of mine, like what's finna happen. So my friend, she's my girlfriend now, she was like, hey, you know, I had just asked her, I was like, can you braid my hair or do something? Because I just can't be walking around like looking like this. You know, I got to go out, I got to do stuff and things of that nature. And she was like, I don't know how to do hair. I was like, I promise you, anything you do is going to be better than what I do myself. So she's going to start doing my hair, you know, so I just do braid, I do twist. Sometimes I just rock the little fro, and I just like the versatility of it. But ever since I started growing my hair out, I've been more hyper aware about everybody else who has their natural hair. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I love your locks. Oh, that hairstyle is awesome. Your curls are fire. I just started telling people about Bantu knots. I'm like, hey, go ahead. So I've learned a bunch of different styles, and it's been pretty cool. Some people I've seen them with locks. I'll ask them how long they've been growing. And they're like, yeah, man, 34 years. I actually cut them. I was like, so this is the reduced version? So like conversations just start from being able to do that. And then just hearing people why they chose to do it, the growth that they've had throughout. And it made me feel a little bit better about doing it myself, because I'm like, yeah, I'm growing the hair off the top of my head, but like, I'm like, I never really had a beard, you know, I'm part of the Apache tribe. So it's like, I'd be feeling uncomfortable about that and things of that nature, but it gives me the ability to compliment a guy after he has a nice beard. I'm like, hey bro, that's a solid beard that you got. And like, you know, just showing love, just like a natural little easy thing. And I know how you say, like, you know, I'm not my hair. So it's like, that's just a part of me. And it just happens to be beautiful. But it helps me really start figuring out, you know, what else about me can I learn to love a little bit more, and that I could even compliment in others when I see it in them. So
yeah, I love that. I love that aspect of it, because I also do that when I see some girl. I'm like, girl, where you get your hair color from? Let me tell you how I want to do it, you know. So yeah, I love that. I love that. So let's dig into this. Do you know the origin of Black History Month? Did you know? Did you already know this?
So I know a little bit of it. I know that it started off as a week, as like Negro History Week, and I know that it was started by Carter G. Woodson, the same person who wrote, what was it, The Miseducation of the Negro? I still want to read that book. So I know that it was like in the 20s.
Yeah,
Like
I have some notes here, because I'm like, I didn't really, I knew bits and pieces. I knew exactly what you knew. And so I was like, well, let me go further. I'm like, this is a great month to go further. And we're having this conversation. I'm like, let me go further. So you're right. It was Carter G. Woodson. It says that he's the father of Black history, which this was back in 1926. And so it was a week. And then in 1975, President Ford issued a message on the observance of the week. So first, it was just like, you know, it was something that he was trying to do. Carter Woodson was trying to do with in the community with the universities and stuff. And so then 1975, which is not that long ago, okay, President Ford acknowledged the week, urging Americans to recognize the important contributions made, you know, to the nation and to culture. And then in 1986, Congress finally passed Public Law 99-244. So 1986 is
that's
when
really
it
not that
became
long ago.
the month I was born in 79, so in 86, that's what, 38 years ago? So I'm like, that wasn't that long ago
Nah.
that it became a whole month observant. And so each year now, obviously we already know this, but each year now it's a month. And so when I thought about this whole podcast, I was like, okay, 28 days is not enough. And then also, people are like, it's the shortest month of the year. And that, so we harp about that. But just seeing it come from a week to then less than 40 years ago becoming a month, the acknowledgement to me, I'm like, okay, that's good. That is progress. It's slow progress, but it is still forward movement. So I'm like, man, I was shocked. I was shocked that it wasn't that long ago.
No, same. And I know one thing that I noticed, because I was always like, why we got the shortest month? Why they do that? But I was like, oh, it's grown from a week, which is a start. Growing from it wasn't acknowledged at all, which is progress and movement in the right direction. But I think it said that he chose that month to honor, who was it? I want to say it was Frederick Douglass, because he was born in February.
It was
And I
Abraham Lincoln and I think it was Frederick Douglass as well. Those both of
He was
them.
born in February. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Now I understand that a little bit more. But like you said, it still ain't long enough. 365, and then even longer on them leap years we celebrating it. So
Yes. I mean, because we got to think about if we think about all the contribution, I mean, because I'm just saying, like, Black, what do we call it? African American, Black American history, that's very lengthy. But then when we open it up, if we open up to Caribbean and British, I mean, we can when we open it up, like, it is so much more, right? And so it could go on. It could, I mean, 365. We still don't have enough time in a year to acknowledge and to celebrate everything. So so growing up with you, Black history, was there a fact that stuck with you ever that, like, man, I learned this, and you just kept that fact with you?
Yeah, so actually there were like a few things that were like that I heard, and it was like the seeds were just dropped, and I was like, oh, really now? So I know one of the biggest ones that was just with my family specifically was how my granddad marched with Dr. King. And I was like, oh, really now? So I was like, this is cool knowledge to know, oh, my family has that history of, that civil activism and things of that nature. My granddad was marching before I even knew the world was a bad place. He was trying to make it, a better place. So, that was a really cool thing to know, just like in my own family. But then some things that I heard that just came about that I was like, oh, really now? I might want to look into that a little bit later. And it even took it was just a seed that was planted, but I didn't really delve into it until further when it was like, hey, the richest Black or the richest person ever isn't like one of these billionaires that we have now. It was actually this man called Mansa Musa. And I was like, what? Who is Mansa Musa? So I have something that just stuck with me. It was like, the richest person ever was actually a Black person. Interesting. So then just later on down the road is when I end up looking a little bit more about to who he is years later. And then another one that kind of stuck out to me that I was like, oh, really now, was that we used to have a Black Wall Street. And I was like, really now? Because the only time I'm hearing Wall Street is like, these bankers and all this stuff up in like, New York and stock market and all that, and never really interested me. It just looked like, white people running around angry with their head cut off with all these numbers flying around. But I was like, Black Wall Street, what was that? Oh, we had like a whole area just full of hundreds of businesses, Black businesses, from everything you can name of. They had theaters, they had airports, 2 airports, and just all kinds of businesses, and was really flourishing. And I was like, oh, wow. Oh, it was firebombed. That is wild. What in the world? So that was something that stuck with me. And then I was actually able last year to go to Oklahoma with my mom and my brother, because we take mother-son trips and we try to visit the states that our friends are like, yeah, I'll pass. So we won't go to like California or New York or Florida, nothing like that. We go to Oregon and we go to Oklahoma. This year we're going to be looking at going to Vermont. But when we went to Oklahoma, we were able to go to Tulsa. We were able to visit the original Black Wall Street and go listen to the museums. And when you're walking through, you'll see the plaques of the businesses that used to be there, and if they came back or if they didn't. And I was like, this is fascinating. I actually was able to buy a hat from them when I went there. So when I heard that what the topic was today, I said I'm gonna rock my Black Wall Street hat that I got.
Yes.
So yeah, so that was pretty cool because I was like, man, I want to be able to do something to show that, yo, we're here, we're still strong. That was our history. Well, that wasn't our history. Our history was the excellence in it. The destruction of it is the white history. But it's like, yo, we can still do that. We can recreate that bigger and better. And yeah, so those were some of the facts that stuck out to me when I was younger. That kind of was like, huh, we got some greatness.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so good. I think we also should celebrate our families. I love how you said, you found out your granddad. So it's like, man, we don't really know because like my mom's generation, to me, they're more closed off. Like she don't talk a lot about growing up. I mean, she says some things, but not a lot. Like it's hard. We have to really like pull it out of her. So to hear that, I think it's important to know, what our family's Black history is, because you can start right there, right? And so that's beautiful. And then also for y'all to have, first of all, the mother-son trips. I'm all for it, okay? I'm all for that. I'm all for that. CJ Code, book your mama trip. And that y'all are going to the places that, there are so many places here in the States. I know we visit abroad a lot, but I think that we also need to appreciate the places that are here. And y'all going to Tulsa, I know that was beautiful to see that, to be like, this really happened, because a lot of people really didn't know about Black Wall Street. Like it was beautiful. And then it was so tragic, everything that happened. So it's like, man, for y'all actually to be there and see that, it was.
That's so Can I say another fact that I found out while I was there that kind of blew my mind?
Yeah.
So it's in Tulsa, it's in Greenwood, the Greenwood district, but the streets are Greenwood, Archer, and Pine. And I was like, all right, cool. Didn't really think anything of it. But then when you figure out, okay, Greenwood, Archer, and Pine, Gap, the Gap band came. That's where they're from. And I was like, oh, word? Yeah, didn't know that's what the Gap stands for in Gap band. So, and then even the song they have, You Dropped the Bomb on Me, it was talking about the massacre. And I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah.
Pause right there. Just pause. Whoa! I didn't think about that. I gotta go listen to the lyrics now. Lord.
Yeah, and it was like they wouldn't let the original thing come out, so they had to tweak it a little bit just to make sure it could still be aired and whatnot. But it was talking about that as in commemoration of it. And then that's what the Gap stands for, because that's where they from. I said, this is pretty cool stuff. I did not know that. So
mind blown. We could just stop the podcast right now. Just stop the recording. Whoa, I didn't know that. See, now I got to figure out, I got to listen to the song again. Because, oh gosh. I'm blown away.
The more you know. The more you know. When I found out, I was like, wow, didn't I know that? So glad to share the knowledge.
Thank you. Yes. So let's talk about this, because your brother is your brother younger than you?
Yes. So he's 2 years younger than me. I have two brothers. One is 2 years younger than me. The other one is 14. I'm 27. He's 13 younger than me. Don't quote me on that off the top of my head. I was econ non-math track. But yeah, he's about like 13 years younger than me, roughly. And then my other one, the one that we go on the mother-son trip with, he's 2 years younger than me. So
okay. So with the next generation, do you think it's our responsibility, or do you think that they will seek it out themselves? Like, where do you think the responsibility level goes? Like, does it fall on us, this generation, be like, here's this what happened, that's what happened, just like you knew about your granddad, like they told you, you know what I mean? So do we tell them, or do we let them seek it out and try to find it themselves?
So it's a little bit of both. I think it's possible both happen. However, I do think most of the responsibility falls on us sharing the information and imparting it to them, because if left to your own devices, like you don't know what you don't know, so you're only going to look into the things that you know about. So if all you know about is, oh, okay, cool, we're athletes, we're entertainers, we can be, just these limited things that are shown nowadays that show that, oh, this is how you get validation and love and money. You won't know about a Mansa Musa. You wouldn't really look into Carter G. Woodson, or who Frederick Douglass was, and different inventors and things, people that are creating all this amazing stuff around us. Like so many different things that's in our day-to-day life was created by Black people, but you just don't know. I still don't know all of them, because it's like, I don't even know what to look at. Do I be like, I don't know who created the stoplight. But when you're at a stoplight, you're not thinking about that. You're like, okay, I'm waiting for this thing to change. You don't think that, Black person created this, or, just different things of that nature. So it's just like, you don't really dig into that because you don't know to look into that. But if somebody plants the seed to let you know that, you're like, oh, okay, well, I can look into that. Oh, I can be a lawyer. Oh, I can be a dentist. Oh, I can be an electrician. Oh, who is this person? Oh, who are these different authors? Oh, I had no idea that we created all of this. Oh, I had no idea that we were doing all of this. I had no idea that we had a history that started before slavery. And before that, we were actually running things. And that while Europe was in like the dark ages, we were like in our golden era, just creating all kinds of amazing stuff. Like, you would have never known that stuff unless somebody told you. Because nowadays everything is based off of like some algorithm if you're online and looking at stuff. So it's going to send you the stuff that you like. So you're not going to find all of this unless you're already interested in that. It's not going to come towards you like that. Or even if it is, you're not looking for that. So you're going to miss it. It's going to go right past you. You're not going to know. So it's definitely on us to share that information. And then the part of seeking it is like, all right, cool. So you know this stuff. What do you do with it? I heard a quote not too long ago. It said that knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is power. And I was like, you're right. So it's like, this stuff. Are you going to share it? Are you going to act on it? Are you going to learn about it? So that's more so how you go about doing that. And then if you look at teachers, it's like, all right, cool. You can't be mad that somebody doesn't, for instance, this is like just a simple example, but you can't be mad if somebody doesn't know what your name is or how to pronounce your name if you don't tell them. Like, how are you going to be mad at somebody for not knowing something that you didn't tell them? Like, okay, well, now that they know, now you have a little bit more to work with. Like, but then that's also why people have, apprenticeships, so you can learn under it. That's why a lot of times, when I'm talking to entrepreneurs, they say, yeah, I'll work, not because, I want a job or anything like that, but I need to learn all the positions and the systems that go. So when I hop out into the real world myself and do it, these are some obstacles and things that I can avoid ahead of time instead of having to do it. Like, I can use the wisdom of others instead of just wasting my time trying to get these experiences and learning it like that. When there's other ways to go about doing it. Mentorship, teachers, talk to your parents and my grandparents, asking them questions, things of that nature, if you're just interested on it. And then it's on the older people and the older generations to hear them out. Listen, don't be mad at them and shun them and be like, no, you don't need to know that or whatever it may be. And then also meet people where they are. If that's where they are and understanding it, cool. You're here. We're going to take your knowledge and your understanding to here. And then if you have another question, we can help and work on that. Or if I don't know the answer, I could direct you to somebody who might know the answer. And I don't have to feel like, oh, you can't learn from me, so I'm a failure or anything of that nature. It's like, no, I've taught you what I know. Here's somebody else who might know something that you're interested in. Go at it, and be happy and encourage it, and have that community aspect, because they can learn something from you. They can learn something from their siblings. They can learn something from their aunts. They can learn something from their neighbors. They can learn something from their teachers and their friends. Like, it takes all of that. That old adage, when it takes a village to raise a child, is real, because there's bits and pieces that they're able to grab from everybody and figuring out who they are and what they can do and the value that they can add. So we can't just leave it all on them to be like, hey, look, that's just the individualistic mindset. And that's not who we are. Like, we work and we thrive in community. So if you're just left to your own devices, do your own thing, figure it out by yourself, you're not going to get as far as you can. And that's even still something I'm learning. I heard that quote where it's like, and I always be hearing these different things. I'm like, that's so cliche, or I always hear about it, but it really starts to make a lot more sense when it's like, you can, want to go fast, go alone, go far, go together. And it's like, all right, cool. Yeah. It makes a lot more sense now when you look at it in the lens of community and not trying to do everything by yourself, because then you're overwhelmed and you're tired and you're burnt out, or you just don't know. So you can still seek, because you want to be able to do it and continue to learn, but it's definitely on us to also continue to learn ourselves, but also lean back, give that information, help plant the seeds, answer questions, things of that nature. So
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. It's a twofold thing. I mean, we plant the seed and then somebody else may water it. So that's the Bible speaks to that. Somebody plants and then the other one waters and then God does the increase. So then it's like, okay, I got the information. Now I'm going to run with it. And then they're going to be creators of things and stuff like that. So it just really, it's a twofold thing. Because I think once you spark somebody's curiosity, I mean, just like you said about the Gap Band, now I'm like, okay, now I need to go ahead and go further. I need to go ahead and pull out some songs like here, I'm about to go look up the lyrics, you know what I mean? So once you've piqued somebody's curiosity and you gave that spark, then now let them run that torch. And then I think it's a baton game. For me, I don't want to die with the baton in my hand. I want to say, here, passing it to the next generation. And then I want to be able to see it keep going like, man, look at Qualon with the baton. He go, and then I want to see you give it to that next person. And then look at the next person and like be able to enjoy it instead of just me dying with the baton. Like, I don't want to let it go. I don't want to. No, I want y'all to know everything, all the things, and then show me even more things. So I love that. I think that's definitely necessary to do that for the next generation to be able to go. So you talked about earlier, going transitioning jobs and doing all that. How do we support Black-owned business, not just during Black History Month? Because I know that is a spotlight. That's a highlight. It's like, the intentions are good, right? We're like, let's help here's more Black businesses during February. But how do we do that 365? What is your suggestion?
So my suggestion would be to not try to do everything all at once. Like you could do it piece by piece. Like for instance, I was like, people be wearing hats. Cool. Get a hat from a Black-owned brand. Even this hoodie that I'm wearing right now, like, it's from a Black-owned brand. I knew the guy who was selling it. I said, I like that. I like the message. Plant some peace. You're right. I'm going to go ahead and cop that. I'll buy it. And then, now I'm out wearing it. And now I'm a walking advertisement and a billboard for that. Even the shoes that I'm wearing right now, well, really they're slides, but they have shoes. Tronus, it's a Black-owned brand from a woman. She created it. Awesome. Tronus, Tronus, Black-owned shoe brand. You don't have to just be signing on to these other companies and things of that nature, and they're using your name, image, and likeness. You can actually be the brand in the shoe brand. So really love that, and they're super cozy and they're awesome. So you could do that. You can follow them on social media. Follows go a long way. If you do support a Black business, leave a review. Reviews on social or online, that goes far as well. So, you can leave that review. That's good. If you have a platform, you can interview these Black business owners. That's something that we could do to help support as well. And then also, just for the businesses, just make sure, I would say, because in today's world, convenience is everything. So for the Black-owned businesses, figure out what can I do to make it as convenient as possible for the consumer? Because a lot of times people say they want to do it, but it's just inconvenient. They're like, oh, well, I don't really know what to eat. I'm just going to go grab this fast food from this chain right here. It's not Black-owned, but, I'm hungry and it's just right here around the corner. What can we do to help alleviate that? Or, oh, I want to be able to find a landscaper. I don't know any Black landscapers. How can we go about alleviating those issues and things of that nature to make it more convenient? And I'm not leaving all of that on like the business owners. I feel like there's a lot of different ways, policies and things of that nature to make it easier to and more convenient to support Black-owned businesses. But that's something that we could do. What else can we do to support Black-owned businesses? Yeah, talk about them, shout them out, interviews, get them, make sure that, more than just your clothes and your food are Black. Is your doctor Black? Is your lawyer Black? It's tax season. What's a CPA? Are they Black? Your landscaper, your electrician. You could buy some of their artwork. All kinds of things that we can really do to help support Black businesses on that front. Because we got a lot of money and we be using it, but is it coming back to our community? That's the question that we got to figure out. So that would be something we can do. Shout them out, and then help them if you see something that they can improve on. Let them know in a loving way. Like, you don't have to have an attitude. People be talking about how, Black businesses don't have no customer service. But I mean, like, we in America, does racism not exist? Have we not been oppressed by all these other people that don't we got to work past that? Be like, oh, I tried to support a Black business. It didn't work. So now I'm not going to support none of them no more. Nah, try to find another one, or, let them know, try to how they can improve on it. Come back and try to see if they have improved on it, things of that nature. Work with them, build that relationship with them. If you have opportunities for vendor booths or whatever, if you have platforms to be able to do that, invite them out. So those are just some of the things that we can do to the poor. You don't have to do all of it at once. Today I might go buy something clothing wise. Today I might go eat out at a Black owned restaurant. All right, okay, cool. Today I might follow somebody. All right, today I might, listen to an interview from one of them. All right, today I might leave a review for somebody else. It's like you don't have to do everything at once, but I mean, you could do something.
Yeah, what I'm hearing you say is be intentional about it. I mean, when you think about it, do it, right? And if it's not a part of your daily habit, then make it a part of your daily habit, because we're not just Black today. We're not just Black in February. I think Black-owned businesses need more support than their counterparts, because of funding, because of resources available, and then also, like you said, as far as exposure, because you may have somebody in your neighborhood that can make great food, but they can't get, the funding to get a food truck or a restaurant or something like that. So how do we be intentional about supporting Black-owned business all the time and not just during February? And so I think that's very important, just to be intentional about it. If you're thinking about a gift, like, okay, maybe not go to the chain place and get the lotion, go to somebody who, okay, this is natural and things like that.
I was going to say another way that I've seen the steps toward convenience happen out here for those that's out here in like the greater Atlanta area. Over in Stonecrest in East Atlanta, the new Black Wall Street Market, they got all kinds of things. They got food, clothing, lotions, all kinds of stuff over there, art, jewelry. So that's a good place we could be able to go to be able to find a bunch of different things at once. If you're talking about the convenience, I don't want to have to travel all these different places to try to figure it out. You could go there. I'm over there. I usually try to go there and be like, okay, cool. I need something. Let me go see if they have it there first, and then make my way around, figure out. So there's different ways to go about doing that for sure. And I just want to shout them out. There's a lot of awesome entrepreneurs and businesses over there, over at the new Black Wall Street Market. So.
Absolutely. And see, when I lived in Atlanta, it wasn't there quite yet. It just got there. But when I moved to Atlanta, it was called Black Hollywood. Like, this is a Black Hollywood. It had just popped off. I got there a year after Freaknik, so I don't know nothing about that. Grandma don't know nothing about that. I wasn't in that. I'm not on any of those videos. However, Atlanta was such a booming area, and so I really enjoyed my children be able to enjoy, like, seeing Black people in different facets. It wasn't just athletes. It was politicians. It was people helping out in the community. Hosea Feed the Hungry. Like, they were exposed to so many people of color that it was just beautiful. It was politicians. It was mayors, and this, the airport. Okay, let's talk about the name of the airport. So it's like all those things were just prevalent, and they could just see it around them. So they weren't just limited to just, the media stuff, movie, music, that kind of stuff. So to live in Atlanta is the time when I lived there, it was very rich. So now that they have this market, I'm just so elated to come back and be able to visit and to extend that, like, shop and patronize and just experience it. So I think that is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm liking it because I go there pretty regularly, and sometimes it just end up at something amazing that's happening. But I know a couple months ago I was there. Les Brown was there. They have a stage and whatnot, so people are able to do like poetry competitions, performances, and there's a lot of releases that go on over there. You can watch all kinds of games and stuff when it happens. I know a couple of weeks ago, Dr. Umar Johnson was over there having an economic empowerment rally. So it's like, if we could get that more people to come talk, use that as a venue and place that they stop at when they come in, Vice President Harris, when she comes in, hey, you're stopping all these other places, come stop over here as well. Okay, cool. Or maybe we could have some kind of debate or something going on over here, or whatever kind of events or, concerts, and some of these other people that have that larger brand and that larger following be able to use some of these Black venues as well, to be able to help bolster that and get that money and keep it circulating in our community, because we have the money and we have the resources. We have all we need. It's just a matter of, are we organized and are we going to actually be moving on it? So.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I believe that it will continue to grow, and you will continue to see I guess we can say, A-list celebrities coming to do those things. I definitely think that that's going to continue to grow and continue to happen. What do you think that, like, what conversations do we need to be having with non-Black people about our Black experience, like to engage them? What conversation should we be engaging in to create in everybody's mind, Black 365, the support, the experiences? Like, what kind of conversations do you think we
I
should
got you.
engage in?
So I think one of the first ones, really the top two that come to mind is one that just because we're pro-Black and we want to put Black first does not mean that we're anti everybody else. I know a lot of times people think that that's where their mind goes to, but that's not the case. It's just that, hey, I need to make sure that my people are straight. And I'm pretty sure that other races and ethnicities, they understand that as well, because that's why you see a Chinatown here and the people there. And it's a Chinatown. You don't really see no Black-owned business in no Chinatown or nothing like that, because that's their spot. That's for who they have, and that's what they do. So it's not that we don't want to support everybody else. It's just that we want to make sure that we're supported as well, so that we can continue to scale and grow and innovate also. So that's one. And then also, we need to dismantle white supremacy. That whole system is systematically destroying us. So it's successful in what it's doing for that, but that's not beneficial for us, and then really for the world, because when Black people suffering, the world goes downhill. It's taking a nosedive as well. And I think that if we help Black people, everybody can benefit from that. Rising tide raises all the ships. I remember hearing that quote, and it fits for this as well. It's like, yo, these people are being oppressed. We're being oppressed. How can, instead of being silent or continue to do the oppressing, how can you be an ally? What is an ally? What does that look like? Is that just marching in the streets? Is that patronizing Black-owned businesses as well? Is that helping with writing policies that help benefit marginalized people? Like, what does being an ally look like, and how can you benefit on that front? So I think those are two of the main ones. Just understanding that pro-Black doesn't mean anti everybody else, and that we need to really be 10 toes down, everybody working to dismantle white supremacy. That's a big one. And then a part of that, which kind of fits like as an umbrella, is like with reparations. I'm not saying reparations is the end all be all. I'm a benefit, or yes, I will benefit from it. Yes, I think that is beneficial and would add value to everybody. Absolutely. But I'm not just going to sit there and be like, can't nothing get done until we have reparations. That's not the case. We're going to work on all these things while we're working on getting that as well, because we deserve it. All these other people, they gain reparations. None of them have gone through what we've gone through as long as we've gone through it. Like 400 years, like people talk about the Holocaust, and I'm not a fan of any of that as well. I don't believe that humans need to be treated like that. But they are able to get reparations. If you look at, I want to say, was it Japan, who was bombed? And with how they were able to work on like the transcontinental railroad, their people were able to get reparations. None of those 400 years long. Plus, including like, Jim Crow and redlining, and, literally having like your family members killed, raped, burned, you're losing your name, losing your culture, losing your God and your religion. Like, none of that was happening for as long as it has been. We don't have no reparations. We have symbolic stuff like Juneteenth, which is cool, which is a good start. Like, yay. But that's not equaling up to the injustice that was done. And I don't want to just sit there and be like, we can't get that done until reparations. Nah, we're going to work and we're going to get that because we deserve it for sure. They're going to have to run them coins, especially if we have it to fund wars and things of that nature. Come on now. Look at the military budget, look at the police budget, and then you look at, in return, like, okay, well, what are we doing for housing? What are we doing for the education? Like, the teachers having to work all these multiple jobs when they're the ones supposed to be teaching the students, but they can't because they working for like rent and just need money and things of that nature. So they can't really focus on it. So how can you expect the best education when the people that you're paying aren't being paid like the professionals they are? Like, so I just think that's a policy thing. That's also just the organizing and a perspective thing that we can be working on. And then also just help hold us accountable. Black people hold Black people accountable. Other races hold us accountable. So the same way that we want to celebrate and shout out all the people that are doing all the great things, which there are a lot of great Black people doing a lot of great things. Like we talk about Black history, but it's not always history. It's people in the present that's making history and doing a lot of great things. So, we can shout them out as well, and bring them on spotlight because, that's something that's happening present day as well. And then helping build for the future with the youth and things of that nature, because they're going to be the ones to help, like you said earlier, pass that baton. So help them out on that. But then at the same time, we want to make sure that we're holding people accountable. You're doing something wrong. Hey, no, we're not going to go for that. That's not acceptable. That's not what we do. We're going to let that be known. And we just I feel like we need to set a standard and have some value systems for us to make sure that we know what we can and can't do, because it's wilding out here. And I think those are just some of the conversations that we can have with non-Black people to help push the cause and help have that conversation flow and really some of the change that'll benefit everybody.
Yeah, I agree with you on all those things. I think also another thing to add is that all our experiences are different, right? So if some people from the North may have a different, when I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, my experience there and living in the South, being raised in Louisiana, were two different experiences. And so when my conversations that I want to have with non-Blacks are that everybody's experiences are different. So don't put everybody in the same thing. Every Black woman is not this way. Every Black man is not this way. Get to know the person individually because you don't know their experiences, what they have experienced, and that can create what you see now. So I want people to have conversations that are around getting to know each other, because really when we start talking about and open up to each other, we have more things alike than not alike, because we all care about our families, we all care about our children, we care about our parents, so all those things, we want better education for our kids. So I'm not necessarily like, I want my reparations, but I want teachers to make more. If that means a tax hike, then I'm for that, right? And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to spend it anyway. Okay, fine. I don't mind doing that. Like, I think less, and like you even mentioned the military's budget. Like, okay, so we're doing all that, but, what are we doing for education? What are we doing for, people who are in food deserts? People can't get fresh food and vegetables. So it's like, okay, how can we use that money in a better way? So if there's a number for reparations, I don't know what that is, because I feel like even when you put out, a number, you got, hold on a second. Quayla got a number. Oh God.
I got something even better than a number. I got a whole book talking about it. So like, I got the National Reparations Declaration.
Okay.
And I ended up finding it, talking to the author about it, Brother Reginald Muhammad and Brother Michael Muhammad. So they talk about on page 1 of it, it gives a definition of complete reparations, because he's like, there's a difference from reparations and complete reparations. And I said, oh, really now? So I'm going to take a quick second to read that, and then I'm going to get to the number.
Please do.
So
please do.
It says, complete reparations, the process by which a nation of people is provided with the means to repair and restore their condition, achieve complete decolonization, and make themselves whole through the ability to self-govern, self-sustain, and self-defend with their own independent landmass, economy, education, culture, and high civilization. So they talk about that. And then in the book, he talks about the price that comes with each of those different things, because it's a lot. Let me flip to that in this book, because it's in here too. And when I saw that number, I said, oh my goodness. And
I know that's real good. But do we have the money for that? Because we already, is it $1 trillion in debt? Is it?
It is trillions for sure. Yes. But if you look at how much a year that we spend, and how much we're sending to foreign aid and other wars and things of that nature, you'd be like, oh, adding up, we could definitely do this. And then when you saw how much they was able to flip in 2 weeks when the stimulus packages came out, how much money they was able to be like, in 2 weeks, hey, y'all, let's push this out to everybody. They got it. We just got to put that little pressure on them. That's all. So it hasn't hit like the totals on here. I know it's kind of hard to see, but I'll read it. So it has, compensates for land stolen from Black people in the United States, forced free labor of Blacks from 1555 to 1865, 5 centuries of denial, neglect, inequality, and the murder of Blacks, closing the Black and the white wealth gap. I mean, it has down here the grand total of what all of those would be. And it is 83 trillion, 273 billion, 10,470,880. And they better hurry up and pay because, you know, the way interest and all that work, that was back in 2020, you know, the price going to go up the longer they wait, because that's how things work. So yeah, when I found that out in like the National Reparations Declaration, when I read that, I said,
Yes,
oh,
I'm gonna have to get the book. And y'all don't worry, I'm gonna put the link to the book in this description too. So don't worry about it. You'll be able to get the book too to be able to see. First of all, I love that definition because it was complete.
Mm-hmm.
It covered every single thing. And I thought in my head, like, could a number even be fathomed? But now that I hear a number with it.
Listen, and it's a real simple read. It's only like 60 pages, including the about the authors and all of that at the end. And it breaks down how they got to each of those numbers for those different categories in the grand total. I think everybody should read it because, you know, you could say reparations, but if you ask everybody what is reparations and they give you a different answer, you don't really got no blueprint. You can't build nothing if you don't have no blueprint. And this is a blueprint for it for sure. So I liked it. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, I need that. And I think we need to get that out to more folks. It's an easy read, so it's not like hundreds of pages and ain't nobody finna read that. It's 60 pages. Like, you don't have to read it all.
We read that in comments on the Shade Room.
Exactly. Like, you
that in comments.
Okay, sure.
Yes.
So,
yes. Well, awesome. I appreciate this conversation. It has been rich, and we probably could keep on going on and on and on because this has been so good. And
we didn't talk about HBCUs. Listen, we get into it now. So
yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, tell everybody where they can connect with you, not just for February, anytime. Okay. Anytime you need to connect with Qualon, please tell us where they can connect with you at.
Absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram at Qualon _ISQB. That's QUALON _ISQB. Qualon is QB. You can find me on this interview, but I mean, if y'all listening to this interview, y'all know how to find me on there because y'all heard it already if y'all got to this point. But still, you can also find me on musical platforms as well. I got a couple of songs out. So if you look up Qualon B, QUALON B, that's me. We got a couple songs and a couple features on a few things on the Black Man Lab project. You can find me at the Black Man Lab. What is the Black Man Lab? Thanks for asking. Intergenerational safe space for Black men here in Atlanta, and we're gonna be scaling and growing. I actually left my job at the Better Business Bureau. Shout out to all the business owners there, and I love what they did and what I was able to do there. Black Man Lab, intergenerational safe space. I work for them full time now as the project manager, just to make sure that we can scale and grow. We can get more than music. It's like I want them flyers on me actually. And I do, because the music is on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. This is what the cover art look like. So if you look up We Need You by Black Man Lab, you'll see that. Black Man Like Me, Lab, LAB. Go ahead and check that out. And then the Black Man Lab, we meet every Monday here in Atlanta at the YMCA off Campbellton Road, Andrew and Walter Young. And we go talking about, you know, Black excellence again, even in the titles, 6:30. And we have intergenerational conversations each week, professional development, personal development conversations. The Black Women Lab meet in the room right next to us. So I know last time that we met, we had someone, the youngest person in our room was 1 and the oldest person was 87. And we have each week like 50 to 150 Black men coming together weekly. I don't know anywhere else that's like that, that's doing the kind of numbers consistently on a weekly basis. And I joined because I want to scale it. Yes, we could have that here in Atlanta, but we have it on Monday and we have it on Tuesday, but we need it every day. And we need it more than in Atlanta. We need it in Savannah. We need it in Texas. We need it in Chicago. We need it in Philly. And we need it daily. And we need it to be able to have that safe space because we need it. It's hard to have peace and think and plan for the future if you don't have that kind of stability or a safe space to be able to do that or feel like you can be yourself, because there's freedom in that. And I want to be able to help provide that for our people. So yeah, man, like I said, find me on that social media, find me on the musical platforms. Find me on Light the Path podcast. Find me at the Black Man Lab. Find me out in the community because I'll be out there for sure doing stuff in the community. I know you can find me at Juneteenth performing at some of the festivals and things that we have going on. Yeah, you can find me on YouTube because, like I said, we got some of the music videos out. Yeah, we can do that. And then if they know you and you want to connect, then they want to connect with me personally, we'll go through that. And some of the people can, if they need my email or my phone number or whatever, maybe we connect like that. But the other platforms, you'll be able to get what you need. But if you know Quentin Cole, you know good people. So I mean, if you talk about how you know her, then we can move and shake from that. That's all I got for right now for like where to find me.
Hey, that's a lot of places to find you. So it's not hard to find Qualon, okay? And I will put all his links to connect to him in the description box. So don't even worry about trying to write it all down. I love everything you're doing, and I can't wait to help support as well, figure out how I can support as well. But I love everything that you're doing. I know that it's going to continue to grow and scale and to just continue to bless the community and bless those, the next generation, this generation and the next. So I applaud you. I appreciate you. Not just today, not just this month, okay, but 365. Thank you so much, Qualon.
All right. Thank you.